Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our newest campaign here on this Twitch channel. My name is Will. I'll be your storyteller as always. I am pleased to dust off a very, very fun system in Legend of the Five Rings by AEG. We will be playing 4th edition, which is one of my favorite editions. As I did not appreciate what Fantasy Flight has done to the game. They are a great board game company. They are terrible at RPGs. And sorry, not sorry for that. But I am honored and privileged to start this off with a session 0 with a longtime friend of mine and a award-winning game developer over at Paradigm Concepts. He is the head rules developer for Arcanis, World of Shattered Empires, which is currently in its 5th edition, which is compatible with D&D 5th edition as well, in case you want to try something different than the norm. The game itself won the 2008 Gamma Origins Best Game of the Year, and L5R is something that we have shared a love for, and I am happy to have him be part of this game. Pete, thank you. Welcome to Legend of the Five Rings.
Dude, thanks for inviting me, man. You called me up about this. You have no idea. I ran up to my wife and I was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" You're, and I'm not doing this to blow smoke. You're hands down probably the best L5R GM I've ever had the pleasure of playing with.
I appreciate that. We'll see what the viewers have to say about that. Is there anything you want to talk about Doji Izanagi before we jump into him? You want to give any of the viewers a taste of what they can expect?
Not your typical duelist. Something rare in the land of Rokugan. A man who cherishes his family almost greater than his clan.
A crane who wants something other than art and a blade. That is interesting, to say the least.
His art is his children.
It's true. Fatherhood has changed many a man, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how we tackle this situation, because you yourself are a father, and so we're definitely going to be playing with some themes that are going to hit close to home, I think. Our game is going to start at the end of year 659. The last great era of the Rokugan historical records was the era of the White Stag, which is, for those of you that don't know, the moment that Rokugan opened itself up to the Gaijin incursion and subsequently closed its borders to any and all Gaijin straight after that.
It was a short-lived affair.
It's a little blip in the radar.
Mistakes were made.
Yes, huge mistakes were made. We're going to be playing in a very nebulous territory that comes right after that, which is a blank spot the historians have kind of kept vague on purpose. But for those of you that have the Imperial Histories book and want to look it up, it is called the Great Famine. So we're going to be looking at some interesting themes moving forward. But the game starts, like I said, at the end of year 659. You're in the middle of Winter Court. You're in Dragonlands as always. And the warmth of the body next to you as you come to with the little slits of sunlight slithering across the floor towards your bedding area, and the morning sounds of just the day coming to its opening. In your drift of coming to, you go back a ways. Again, there has been nothing since the era of the White Stag, and the Crane have slowly been building themselves back up since then, to their position of prominence in the courts. One of the many hardships that has come with it is your father's unrelenting need to have you be a prime example of what the doji could be. So you're in your drift, you inadvertently go back to just before your Genpuku ceremony, before you became a man and you were given your swords and you were expected to be this herald of Crane aesthetic and a paragon of what it means to be courteous and honorable. And you have your boken in your hands. The knuckles are red and flared from just being out in the same kind of cold and just doing your exercises before breakfast. And you can hear him pacing just behind you in his part of the dojo that he kind of keeps for the talented students. It is not a pace that is reflective of what you're doing. It is a pace that you've come to know as worry. For the first time in a bit of your life, you know that he has shown a new side of himself to you, whether he wanted to or not. And as he continues to pace, you hear another set of footsteps come rushing over. And one of the servant women says, "Master, there is a complication. You are needed." And without a word or without a sound, even, not a grunt or anything, there's just the two sets of footsteps that walk away from your training area.
I know I should know better,
Mm-hmm.
but that is that's not like my father.
No.
I would quietly follow.
Okay.
Trying to stay just out of sight. But yeah, what the heck is going on?
All right. Let's have your first roll of the game then, and let's actually have you roll your stealth.
Okay, let's see. I did the pop out character sheet. There we go.
Yeah. Remember,
skills.
it is trained.
Yes.
Because you put points into it. So hit the trained button on Roll20, which is not
14.
a sponsor. But if they want to, I'm available.
We're not going to complain.
And not at all. So 14 is enough, you think, to, like, the serving woman is just focused on her kind of leading him. He doesn't break his stride at all as he follows her. So you think that you've gotten away with it. And as you follow him to the bedchamber, you can see your mother with another two sets of servants hovering over her and her enormous belly. And there is this little girl that is kind of at the side of one of the doors, just kind of peeking in, trying to get a better view of things. And there's another serving woman that kind of keeps ushering her to stay outside. And as he gets to the threshold of this room, you see he stops, and without looking your direction, he just says in his very gruff voice, "Look after your sister, Will you stop skulking? You're not a scorpion, for Christ, for element's sake. And
I bow deeply, and I hold my sister
Mhm.
because I'm assuming that's the one at the door.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I motion. I give her the shh with
yeah.
my finger,
He
and
he steps inside as you do that.
yeah, yeah.
You can hear your mother crying out. Uh, there is a pain that you've never heard from her before. But at the same time, excuse me, there is, even though you're in uh, Crane Lands and winter is at best, a very quick visit, there is a smooth, very gentle, cold breeze that kind of dances around the two of you.
I close my eyes for a second,
Mhm.
and I do that. Um, like what my mom taught me about
Yes.
wind, like just trying to use it to calm myself down a little bit because I'm probably nervous as hell.
Yeah. You can see that as you start to do that, you hear your sister kind of imitating you.
Yeah.
And as you open your eyes, you see that you are the first one in your family that is present when she reveals just what her path entails. And you can see that her hair, long and beautiful and not yet dyed white, still very kind of like dark brown and black, is just swirling like octopus tentacles in the water around her shoulders and just kind of dancing over your fingers. Um,
I literally have a tear in my eye
mm.
as I hug her.
You see that she opens her eyes at your sudden grab for her, and they are completely white. They are whited over, and you can hear a voice that isn't hers coming out of her mouth. It is light, it is flighty, it is sing-song, but it's also curt and short and very direct, and you just hear, "There's going to be a choice to be made, young Doji."
I like pull back from my sister a little bit at this because I'm like,
Mm.
and I nod.
Um,
Um,
the child or your mother. And as she says that, the eyes return, the hair drops, and she just collapses to her knees. And she is exasperated. She is heavily breathing like she has just run a marathon. Air is very
I
much a commodity that she doesn't have right now.
I
It feels
continue
like.
to hold her,
Mhm.
like I pull her in.
Yeah.
And
Her breathing starts to regulate.
I look into the room in a way that is like trying to lock eyes with my father.
Okay.
And I'm holding her, who looks exhausted. So this should be a warning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He does see the two of you through the crack in the door, and he motions for one of the serving women to kind of come over. And as she comes over, she slightly opens the door, steps out, trying not to reveal what's going on inside. Go ahead and make that investigation roll for me to see if you can spot
Yeah.
anything beyond her.
Wow.
Oof.
Damn. 25.
25. As she steps through the door, you kind of try to keep looking past her to kind of make eye contact with your dad to kind of show him
Like-
just how
like- Yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Is the look I'm trying to give him.
Yeah. And you can see that one of the other serving women is cleaning up what looks to be just this spout of blood that originates at your mother. But she comes over, she slides the door as closed as possible. There's maybe a finger's width of space. And she bends down to you. She's like, young master, you have to take your sister away.
Akami has just spoken through her to me.
Her hands shoot up to her mouth.
I must... My father. It's the only thing I say. Like, I need to talk to him. I need to tell him.
She nods, and she rushes over to him, leaving the door open.
Yeah.
And you can see...
And I'm still holding her up. Like, a little bit more.
Yeah. There's a very strange aura in the room. Your mother is in the fetal position on her left-hand side. There is just this groaning, and the veins on her legs are very blue. From the angle that you're at and what you can see, like you see that they're pulsing like a dark blue.
Yeah.
And every time that she groans, like she's pushing or like she's pulling, the wind in the room just kind of lashes out. There are several kimonos that were very dear to her that look like they've been kind of crumpled and tossed aside, and some are even slashed through. The room,
oh, well, that should give a little more credence to what I just told the servant to tell my father.
Yeah, the room is a mess. And as the message is delivered, your father pulls the wench down, the serving lady down, to keep the same pressure on his wife that he's been doing. And he rushes over to you, closing the door behind him.
I tell him, Father, Akami just spoke to me through my sister. And
this is the truth?
I look at him with a look of, I've never lied. A choice will be made. The child or mother. And I'm tearing up at this point.
Yeah.
There's no way I can hold that back.
Yeah. He looks back, almost like he can see through the rice paper door at the scene that he left. Like, almost like he hasn't even left the room itself. And he looks over at you. And he's like, bring me my tanto.
I nod. I lean my sister against the wall, and I run.
Okay. Let's make an athletics check, because I don't think you put points in that.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you sneaky bastard.
32! Holy
Christ.
The wind is carrying me.
Yeah, literally. You know that to get from the main hall to the dojo, the combat dojo where the weapons are kept, especially your father's weapons, there are turns and twists and stairways and the koi pond, and none of that to you is a concern. It is almost as if the path has been laid out for you visually, and you see these leaves kind of dancing around you as you're moving with a speed that you don't remember having as a child. And there's a quick jolt of one leaf as it shoots past you to the right, and as you grab the corner and use your momentum to come around towards the right, it is almost as if the wind catches your feet, and there isn't that you are stepping on the walls or anything, but there is something there that is pushing you forward and keeping your momentum where it needs to be. But even the koi pond, which to you growing up has always been this massive kind of jewel of the house, you come to it, and the impulse is to jump, to just clear it, and in one single leap, something that you've never done before, you can feel your foot just shoot up off the beautiful soft rock, kind of colored rocks that line the outline of this koi pond. And the next thing you know is that you feel your other foot land on the opposite colored soft beautiful rock of this koi pond. You don't even look back. Like, there is no time to look back, but you know that you have vaulted this thing, that something has helped you vault this thing. And as you get into the dojo and you grab up the small knife your father requested, you hear your mother scream, and it pierces the whole of your estate.
I pray to the winds again. And I say, you carried me here. Do not abandon me now. And I just run back. And at this point, by the way, I'm not being delicate. If there's a paper wall, it's down.
Okay. So sure enough, you decide to damn the torpedoes and just go for the straightest line possible.
At this point, it's I'll deal with the consequences after.
And sure enough, you just bulldoze your way through room after room. You knock over some piece of art here. You knock over.
Oh shit!
You knock over an armor stand there. But you rush through. So much so that you come barreling through the wall almost a foot or two away from where you left your sister. And there's just this splinters of the reed and the bamboo and the rice paper that have just littered your body. You've torn your kimono in some places. You've ripped huge holes through most of the house. Your size shaped holes.
Of course.
But you rush in and you can see your father has not moved.
I am on my knees and I'm holding the wakizashi. It's the
Tanto.
Yeah, the wakizashi, the tanto. My head is bowed and I'm just holding it up to him.
He takes
on my knees.
He takes it. Watch your sister.
I bow all the way down and I hold her. Actually, you know what? No. I'm taking her away. I don't want her to see this.
Okay.
I literally pick her up and I walk away.
Okay. Sure enough, he steps in. He slides the door closed behind him, and it is one of the few times that the door closing, that clack of the wood on the wood, has shaken you. It is not a fearful kind of jolt. It is more of a horror kind of jolt. Like, you have an idea of what is about to happen.
I whisper, Kumiko, Cover your ears.
And she does.
To my sister. And I of course, I'm holding her. I'm not, but I
Yeah.
want, I cover
Yeah.
your ears. And I'm just walking away with her.
And sure enough, as you get out of the main estate house, you hear the second ear-shattering scream, and at this point, everything kind of fades away. It's just you and your sister, and you realize that this was one of the turning points in your relationship with your mother. That there was less time spent with you and more time spent with her.
Yeah.
And this is when your father became hardest. Before, it could have been said that he was trying to train the next best duelist, and after this moment, it became much more about trying to make sure that he never had someone live through this again. He was trying to make sure that no one had to deal with this, that you wouldn't have to deal with this in any way, shape, or form. And in retrospect, as you're kind of stirring back in Dragonlands in the year 659, you kind of wonder if things would have been different, if maybe he would have been a little softer if there had been a third child, if maybe there would have been someone else to kind of carry some of this expectant burden. But you never heard either of them talk about what it could have been. You don't know if it was going to be a sister or a brother, and that whole year is almost like a memory that is glazed over in conversation.
Yeah.
The only thing that is prominent of that is the fact that your sister showed her path. That is what has been taken away from that year.
Do I dream of this often? Is this the first time I've dreamt of this in all this time?
This is the first time that it's been as vivid. There have been moments that you like to latch onto, that you like to kind of revisit. The birth of your sister is one of them. The Genpuku ceremony where you met the two Hida brothers that have become very close and almost uncles to your daughters. And the marriage to your wife, and of course the birth of each of your daughters has been a revisitation, or a visitation that you welcome. It is rare that you get any kind of bad dream visited upon you. You've been fortunate in that way. And they're usually precursors to something terrible happening. They're omens to you. And you've kind of attributed that to the wind itself, as that has been what has led your family through the bad times and the good.
I would sit up in my bed, trying not to wake up Iko. and slip out of bed and go like right outside,
Mm.
and everything is cold. It's snow, probably snow covered mountains.
Yep.
In just my pants and my sleeping kimono,
Mm.
I meditate in the cold,
Okay.
letting the wind hit me, and just again, like always, just and trying to, because I'm probably shaking from this.
Yeah.
There's no way I could wake up from that and not be shaking. So
Yeah.
I'm meditating, trying to calm myself and letting the cold, like, try to bite into me a little bit.
Mm. Yeah. The cold and the shivering from the dream and the shivering that you're doing as you kind of find your place in this cold, frozen morning are completely different. The the sweat that's coming down the side of your face, the the breathing as you try to regulate it is just short and fast and exasperated, and it's almost like when your sister had that visitation.
Oh,
Um, but there's no voice here. There's no eyes glazing over. Uh, there's only the cold.
I whisper to the wind.
Hmm.
I think I understand.
You hear a voice that you have come to know and stomach in your time here in the Dragonlands, and you just hear this kind of similar aged man to you just call back to you. Well, that's good. What are you trying to understand? And
Okay, who is this?
this is Mirumoto Kamaki.
Let me write that down so I remember.
Yeah, he is a childhood friend of your wife.
We don't get along, do we?
No, no.
I keep my eyes closed,
Mm.
not looking at him,
Mm.
and how can I say this in a way? You assume that every conversation is about you, brother. Actually, no, he's not my brother-in-law, is he? No.
No, no.
Cousin, because he's through marriage. So yeah, you assume every conversation is about you, cousin. This is not.
Hmm. Well, sometimes
And
it is. Sometimes it isn't.
and why? And again, I'm not looking at him at all. My eyes are closed. And why are we blessed with your presence on this fine morning, old friend?
There is to be a festival of sorts, a presentation if you are not busy sitting in your garden.
When?
At lunchtime, there's a dignitary that has come. You are highly, highly sought after. For some reason, you hear him say under his breath,
The Doji name carries some weight.
mm.
And I say that because I know it's a little to him.
Yeah. And he's like,
I go, thankfully, Iko could sleep a little bit longer.
yes, let us not bother her.
Are my daughters, am I being asked to bring my daughters?
If you'd like. And you hear him crunching the snow as he steps over to you, and it is slow. He is not in a hurry to deliver whatever he is giving to you, but he crunches slowly over and then just places something to the side of you, to your right hand side,
Yep.
It's like, this has all the details.
I thank you for bringing this to us.
Of course, cousin. And you hear him crunching now, very hurriedly away from you.
Yeah, the entire time my eyes are not open
Yeah,
and they're looking straight ahead, so like I don't even acknowledge him directly.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, the crunching stops as he climbs up from the garden onto the actual wood of the estate, and then you hear him kind of pad away. Very quiet. He is trying to be respectful of your sleeping wife and your children.
And I do note how interesting that a dragon doesn't understand the importance of meditation. I'm like, so after, again, I just fall into my meditation for a little while, and after maybe 30 breaths, I open my eyes and I look to see what's next to me.
There is a message scroll that has two different wax seals. One is the crane clan symbol, and the other is the Imperial family.
My eyebrow shoots up when I see the Imperial family.
You didn't take heraldry, did you?
I don't know. I thought I did.
No.
Did I? No, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
I just didn't do it. That was dumb.
Yeah. So go ahead and
that was rather dumb of me.
that was such dumb.
You know what's funny? Because I even thought about I should take her. We even talked about it.
Yeah.
And I did. Oh, dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is just intelligence, right?
Such dumb. Yeah. So go ahead.
Oh no! Hold on. My really good memory.
I don't think this is something that would have popped up in your memory. I think this is the first time this family has ever reached out to you.
Fair enough. Okay, intelligence roll.
Yeah, so just make an intelligence roll.
18.
Damn, boy.
Damn.
Okay. So after kind of rattling around in your head, you recognize it as being the Miya family.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah.
So, at this point, because I'm realizing what... I'm like, Miya family. Huh. I stand up, brush any snow that has fallen off me off, and I walk into my bedchambers, close the door quietly, start making some tea, because my wife likes to wake up to tea, and it keeps her calm.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yes. So I'm making tea, and as the tea is warming up, I'm going to open the scroll to read it.
Okay. It is a invitation and a summons. The Honorable Miya Hirozaki is requesting your specific presence to protect his betrothed.
Wow.
Doji Rurumeiji, who is going to be coming from Kyuden Doji to a small village called Shiromori Sato, that's nestled in the mouth of the Kuromori Kawa that feeds the small Alten Numa. And it exists in the territory of dispute between the dragon, the scorpion, and the phoenix lands.
Ugh. I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to the Imperial Court. Of course not.
Yeah.
Wow. My brain right now is probably just spinning. I'm like,
Yeah.
As soon as the tea's warm, I softly awaken Iku.
Yep. There is a split second of a smile on her face as she smells the tea, and then her eyes open and she sees you, and it immediately scowls. She's like, "What?"
Good morning, my beautiful wife. I've made you tea. And I have interesting news.
Thank you, husband.
I hand it to her.
She takes it from you. There's a
And,
softness in her hands as she does kind of like touch your hands with hers.
and I made it the way she likes it in the morning. A punch in the face. Strong.
Yeah. So she sips it and immediately sits up. She's like, all right, this is going to be one of these mornings.
And I hand her the scroll. Because I know she's going to want to read this herself.
Yeah. Yeah. So she does read it.
And I'm drinking my tea at this point as I'm waiting for her reaction. I'm like drinking my tea and I'm looking over the cup at her face.
Yeah.
As her eyes probably start to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every bit of information that I told you just increases her eye size like an easily 10% until she's just completely flabbergasted and lets the scroll kind of drop out of her hand. And she looks at you. She's like, they asked for you by name.
I have a very small smirk almost because the way I'm thinking about this, remember how I told you, my character believes that through honor, everything flows. I will have glory and I will have honor, status because I am honorable. In my mind, I am like, everything I've done is finally paid off.
Yeah.
I have laid the roots, and now my tree will grow. Maybe a little late in life, but...
just a little bit.
Yeah. And I just smile at her, and I went, yes, they did.
Is this a mistake?
I give her a giant eye. One of my eyebrows go up. And in my head, I'm like, is she being sarcastic or not? And you know what? This is my test. Yeah. I kiss her.
Yeah. She lets it happen, and she does kind of put her hand on your face very warmly. And she looks at you. She's like, "This is a spring wedding. We're
okay. I need to roll etiquette because I'm not sure what that means.
Sure.
I wish I was my sister because my sister would know exactly what this means. 15.
15. You're assuming that her emphasis on spring means that there's going to be the minimalist of time from your arrival back at Cranelands to get your affairs in order to come all the way back to basically where you are right now.
Yeah.
Unless you leave early.
I'll probably no.
And brave.
Actually, you know what? I can. This is one of those predicaments that if I talk to her father and I show him what's going on, he'll probably release me. He'll be like, "No, go."
He might.
He might. And I look at her and I'll bring that up. I'm like, I'm going to ask your father, seeing the importance of this, if I could leave a little early so I can make sure to be here next winter. And it's kind of a mixed bag the way I say it. I love our time here.
But you are itching to leave.
Oh, actually, no. Well, I'm not itching to leave because I want to leave here. This is everything that I tell her what I think, that all my time serving the Empire faithfully, doing everything I've been told has finally paid off. I've been all my dutiful honor, my dutiful respect to the Empire and doing everything that's been asked of me is finally being recognized. And this is not the type of event that you squander.
She nods. This is above and beyond what you have been doing. These are not
by far
going to be rudimentary bandits that you're going to have to protect this lady from.
My father taught me well, though he doesn't see it that way.
I know. I just want to make sure that you understand that these are not going to be run of the mill threats.
I understand, but refusing this would bring great dishonor, not only upon me,
Mm-hmm.
but upon even your father.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's not so. I was and I'd say there's a festival at lunch apparently to celebrate this,
Hmm.
which is why I woke you, because I assumed that you would want to get ready.
Ah, yes. And where are your children now?
Probably still sleeping. I don't hear laughter and one picking on the other yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like rolling my eyes, like look, like if I'm looking behind me, almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you're acting like you're listening for something.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I don't hear one picking on the other and father, mother yet. So
Yeah.
I assume they're both sleeping.
Hmm.
I will go wake them.
One could be so lucky. I'll get dressed then, and she does
And I
leave
look at her
and
and go,
kiss you.
a little bit more tea.
No, no. One is enough, I think. But she does kiss you on the cheek as you go to leave.
And I blush like a little kid when she does it because she still does that to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will bow to her a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like a small bow, get up, and I'm gonna go wake up my kids.
Yeah. You walk over across the courtyard to where your children should be sleeping, and you see that their room is empty.
My eyebrow shoots up.
Yeah.
And
Clothing
I'm
is strewn about, and it is not like strewn about like there's a scuffle. It is strewn about
the room
like,
is just a mess.
like they were looking for something, and when they found it, they have made themselves scarce.
I will hunt them down.
Let's have you make that investigation roll again,
Yes.
and let's see if you can pick up their trail.
13.
13.
My kids are really good at dodging me.
Maybe. I don't see them. Yeah, no, they're not scorpion after all.
Yeah. Thank God, because that would worry me.
Yeah. But sure enough, you kind of look around the room and you see the remnant of just this kind of wet outline of where snow padded boots came in and then kind of went back out. But it gives you your first kind of taste of where they went. And as you follow it out past the courtyard and into the rest of the estate that belongs to your father-in-law.
Hold on. Before I do this, I go into my room. I grab a respectful kimono to walk around the house in.
Okay.
Because if any of the servants see me, I don't want them to see me in my sleeping clothes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I grab that, and then I grab a cloak with probably a fur-lined cloak.
Yeah. As you're getting dressed, your wife kind of looks over at you and she's like, "There's a severe lack of my daughters in your presence."
There's a severe lack of our daughters sleeping.
Oh.
Don't worry. I'll bring them in. They probably went to go play in snow.
I blame your ancestors.
Appropriately. And I stop at the edge and I look back and I go, I thought dragons like to play in snow too. And then I keep walking.
There is a very low mumbled response that you can't make out over the rice paper doors.
I probably don't want to know what she said.
Touche. But yeah, you follow the trail, and sure enough, you see the two of them just kind of sledding through this makeshift kind of path that has been carved out, and just other kids kind of running up and going to the top of this hill that has been you assume built for this very purpose, as some of the adults that are there are kind of like encouraging them.
I walk up and I have a giant smile on my face because my children get along with their cousins so well.
Yeah.
It's like I'm happy about that. I'm like, and I just walk up. Are there any of the parents that I'm like on good terms with?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's
I walk up to one and I bow and I good morning.
yeah. They return the bow. Good morning, Doji-san. It seems that this was built for us this morning. We have you to thank, I believe, for this.
I raise an eyebrow.
And you hear a very gregarious laugh as rice paper doors thrown open, and
Oh no!
you hear the belly laugh of Hida Aguro, the girl's uncle. Just
I turn around and I have a shit-eating grin on my face.
like he has none of your composure. Like there's no house robe, there's no fur-lined cloak.
Yeah, come on now.
he is basically shirtless, just with pants, and a bottle, like a thick gourd of sake, that has steam kind of coming out of the mouth hole.
Yeah.
And he just looks over. He's just like, every kid deserves a hill to sled down.
I can't help myself. I laugh. I laugh and I walk straight over to him and I clasp his hand.
Yep. And he just puts the gourd in your chest very forcefully. A morning drink.
Yes, nice and warm. And I bow and I take a little bit.
Incredibly warm.
Oh, and I let it sink to my stomach and I
Yep.
just have a smile on my face. I'm like,
Yep.
what the heck are you doing here?
He's like, I came to surprise you.
A surprise indeed.
Yep.
Where's your brother?
He is back at the wall. I, however, and you see him kind of leaves the gourd in your hands as he kind of goes back into the room that he has been staying at, and he pulls out a very similar summons.
I smile
Like,
and I go, fate as what would I say? Fate has surely. Interesting how fate had you and me meet in such a way, and now we're here today.
I came to see what this village is about. So I figured if I was in the area, I'd come and see my favorite nieces. And you see him grab one of them as they're running past you.
Yeah.
And she just giggles as he kind of like throws her into the air.
And I have this shit-eating grin on my face. Because I am generally happy right now. Like, one of my best friends is here.
Yep.
It's just a beautiful morning. Like, the memory of my dream is gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily.
And gone.
And you see him just kind of holding your youngest daughter on his forearm. He kind of extends it out towards you. He's like, I will trade you. And you see him with his other arm grab the gourd out of your hands.
It will cost you much, much, much more of this for something as precious as that. And I point at my daughter.
Yeah. And he just looks at
but,
you like,
of course you could borrow her. I'll take a few drinks.
I
take a drink.
I wanted this back. And you see him grab the gourd from you and push your daughter onto you.
And I grab her, spin her around, and put her back down.
Yeah. She immediately just goes running back to where the other kids are.
Yeah.
But he takes a long, big swig.
And I take a quick look. I'm not being obvious.
Mm-hmm.
How are my cousins taking this?
They are a little put off but there's also the understanding that he's a crab.
Fair enough.
So there's a stomaching that they're doing for this, because
Yeah.
he did build this fucking snow hill.
Yeah, and probably a few of them have a look of, oh, that poor thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he does kind of put his arm around your shoulder and pull you into his room,
Hmm.
and he closes the door as he kind of gregariously laughs. And then, as the door closes, he drops the facade
The laugh.
entirely, and he just opens up the scroll to you, and you see that it is not the same invitation that you had. It is still the same seals. It is the crab, the crane, and the Miya family.
Hmm.
But this is a summons of protection. There is a set of murders that have taken place in this village that have threatened to cancel this wedding that is supposed to happen, and they believe that something or someone is trying to sabotage this wedding, and they have asked the Hida and a couple of other people, which they have named in the letter, and because you have precise memory, you know that it is Hida Aguro, Kakita Yotaro, Mirumoto Kameki, and Bayushi Saimon have all been tasked with trying to find out what is going on in the village of Shiromori Sato, which is the village of the White Forest.
I look at him with this look of like, okay, so we've been friends for a long time.
Mhm.
So I give him a look of worry, and I nod my head in a way, in a direction,
Mhm.
like back to my quarters,
Yep.
and I start walking.
Okay. You see him
I'm
grab
pretty
something.
sure I can leave my kids with the dragons.
Yeah.
They're going to be safe.
Yeah. You see him before you leave. He kind of motions for you to stop, and as he reaches into his bag, he also pulls out a small kind of leather, like bifold,
Yeah.
kind of not like wallet, but it is kind of a wallet,
Mhm.
wallet sized,
Hmm.
and he opens it to show you that it is a emerald decree, that he has been deputized for this task.
I look at him and I bow, like, with that, like, almost like congratulatory.
Yeah.
And I look up at him and I give him like the hand motion. You and I need to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
Uh,
So I go back to my quarters.
yeah. He follows
Um,
you.
yeah. Um, and yeah, I'm not gonna keep. My wife will never forgive me if I keep this from her. And I shouldn't, because my kids might be in danger as well.
No. As long as they're not there.
Is she trained as a bushi, by the way?
No, your wife is at best a courtier. She deals with the courts.
Okay. So I will, when I know we are out of earshot from everybody else,
Mhm.
I tell him that I was tasked with protecting the betrothed, but they didn't tell me anything about the murders. They just told me to protect her.
Mm. Mm. They might be fearing for her safety on the road. You want me to come with you?
No, but I'm worried about these murders.
Wow.
They're trying to stop the wedding.
I'm on the case now.
Yes, I
And he
know.
kind of gives you this big grin.
And I look at him.
Of all the
and I
people
go-
who shouldn't be an Emerald agent, this is one of them.
That's going through the back of my head.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I think that sometimes a hammer is the right tool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, his list also had a Kakita and a Bayushi, so you can
So
assume.
it's not, yeah. So they balanced out
Yeah,
who's gonna be, yeah. He's basically the muscle when things go south.
yeah. But
Yeah.
also on his list was the the pain in the ass who bothered you this morning.
Um, what do I think about him? Is he honorable?
Yeah,
He's just,
yeah.
me and him just don't get along.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
he's a full on like Niten is the way the swordsmanship should be, and you know that you and your father were all
I
about like
get it.
Kakita's like one strike, one kill.
I get it.
Yeah,
Okay. So now I understand our
yeah,
our disagreements. Okay. So I tell him what's going on. I say I was going to ask. There's going to be a festival this afternoon.
mm,
Um, related to this, and I hold my scroll up.
mm.
But now these murders have me a little worried.
Nah. It's only
And I
three
look at
so
him
far.
and I go, my children and wife are going to stay here.
Okay,
Please keep an eye on them.
of course.
Shit.
I'm not
So
leaving for another week anyway.
excellent. I'm going to after we have our talk. I'm gonna go. I tell him I'm gonna go get the girls because we have to get ready because
Yeah,
the festival is what, like 2 hours away.
yeah, yeah.
So I go fetch my girls and I tell them they have to get ready for court. And I tell them you're going to meet someone from the Imperial family.
The older one is incredibly intrigued by this. The younger one just kind of like pouts. Um,
And I look at Kiko, the younger one,
yeah.
and I go, "You get to wear your beautiful blue kimono."
Oh, I like the blue one. And immediately she rushes off.
And by the way, the blue one is that really, really nice one that mom never lets her wear.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, the eldest kind of looks up at you with a smile and a raised eyebrow, and she's just like, "Eh, it looks like you are learning from our aunt." And she just kind of walks towards her room.
And I fake, ouch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I look at her like, but it's like fake. You know what I mean? It's like, oh.
yeah, yeah.
And I scruff her hair a little bit from the back
Yeah.
as she walks away.
When you guys arrive at the presentation, you see the father-in-law is there with his wife, and you see your wife's brother is also there, and you also notice that the Dragon Clan champion is there.
Oh, have I met him before?
No.
Oh, wow! This is an honor.
Yeah.
When I see him,
Like everyone is dressed in the nines, like
Yeah.
to the tips.
I'm dressed, by the way,
Mhm.
in the finest kimono I have,
Yeah.
but my pants have a green trim to it,
Mm.
like a dragon green trim.
Okay. And you see that as your family arrives and they're shown to their place on the dais, the last of the group kind of fumbles in. There's a little bit of a comical kind of like, is this actually happening going on?
Yeah.
Because it is Hida Aguro and just a couple of other crab like kind of come in. They're like looking around. They wave at you. There's like no decorum whatsoever for him.
When they do that, I just nod to them, like I'm keeping decorum.
Yeah,
But like when I don't ignore them. I
yeah.
and I nod to them.
But you see that some of the servants kind of like usher him over to where him and his group should be.
I'm fighting every urge to smile
Yeah, yeah.
because I love him like a brother, and it's like, oh god.
And he he thinks that he's being incredibly slick as he sits down, and he kind of does that thing where you kind of swirl your trench coat around with his kimono, like he swirls it back to show you that he has the gourd on him. But not only does he do that, but he also kind of like points to it as he coughs and sits down.
Oh, God, I love him. Oh,
But you see the Mirumoto that came to you this morning kind of step forward and address the group. He's like, ladies and gentlemen that have been gathered here, we thank you for your presence. We are honored by your inclusion of us in these events, and we would like to present the distinct differences between what makes the Niten style superior to the poor Kakita and their emphasis on Yaido, and he motions for you to come forward. We have
I give him a look.
a practitioner of said style in the Honorable Doji Izanagi-san. And all eyes turn to you.
I give him a look like serene, but he knows it's daggers.
Yeah.
I nod and I walk forward.
And as you step forward to participate in whatever this presentation is supposed to be, we will jump forward to the spring of the year 660, and you escorting this beautiful Doji Rurumeiji to Shiromori Sato. And that is where we'll pick up your next episode.
That's awesome. Okay.
So I'd like to thank everybody who came in and joined us, who watched the stream. Please take care of yourselves, wear your masks, wash your hands, keep your distance, and please look out for each other. And remember that you are not alone. That even though it may feel like it, and it may feel like the world, especially now, is just overwhelming, please reach out to friends and family, and if you can't reach out to them, please seek professional help, because we all need help once in a while, and there's no shame in asking for it. And if you stick around, we're going to see if we can raid anyone. Otherwise, thank you for coming up, and we will see you next week with another L5R episode, or on Friday with our Star Wars Out in the Dark episode. Have a good night, guys.